share that one thing, that one top thing that you are going to become the master of, that you learned or that you're taking away from this course with each other, because you guys are a team now.
The biggest takeaway that I have on this is reinforcing that we're all humans in this role, in what we do and we lead, and the people that we support and that we serve. And leading them does not have to be complicated. It just needs to work. And the tools that were given here work. They're not overly complicated. In fact, there's simplicity. There's beauty in their simplicity, and that it's important to use. And it's a path and a way to use the simplicity of what we have with being human and treating others as human, so that we can all succeed and grow.
Zoom high five, Dan Lawrence.
I think the biggest thing I want to take out of is building the project work plan. I think it's very detailed, and that's going to be my base foundation. A lot of the leadership and the topic that we share in this class, I will build upon it. But my starting foundation would be trying to start that project plan and develop it well, and then build upon it with the leadership and into a higher level of what I gained from this class.
Right on. Bruce, Zoom high five. Yeah.
I'd say my biggest takeaway from this course is one of the Simon Sinek videos we talked about, where he talked about the 4 chemicals that your body needs, that you physically can't survive just like on your own. And that kind of relates personally and in the workplace, that you just can't do it all by yourself. And that's your team. And as being a leader, it's kind of your objective to find those balances and being able to like lean on people.
Right on, Wyatt.
Boom. Thank you, Jay. My goal is to implement the 120 VC standard. And thank you for teaching it to me.
Right on, brother. Zoom high five. Yeah.
All good, Jay. I think really the most I enjoyed was just the real balance of mix of hard and soft skills. From my standpoint, like I was not formally trained in project management. I don't know if most people were. Sorry, there's a lot of crickets. That's why I got my PMP, and being in the entertainment industry for 20 years. Like, there's really not a lot of formalized training out there when it comes to project management. So I actually really enjoyed that, and I really enjoyed the fact that 120 VC, the whole company, really seems to embody what they preach and practice, and the fact that their CEO and founder shows up on every single call and talks to the class, I thoroughly enjoyed. I love soft skills. I love learning about emotional intelligence and all of that, but it's really like the step-by-step approaches to how you circulate documentation and everything from the WBS down on just how you do it all is really what I need to brush up on. So I really enjoyed that part.
Right on. Zoom high five.
Probably the biggest takeaway for me is the first thing I need to work on is active radical listening candor. So being a little bit more open and direct with people, not trying to spin things, so to speak, but also on the receiving side, being a lot more listening to the feedback and what I get back from them as well.
Right on. Zoom high five.
I have a huge list of things that I want to master that we've learned, but I'm going to take your advice and spend 15 minutes a day practicing. And the first thing I'm going to work on are the 3 Bs.
Boom. Do you see that, guys? That was like a mic drop. Zoom high five.
I love this class. One of the things is that not only because of the procedural and the templates that you have, but the thing that really, I think, helps really make a good leader is the soft skills. And part of the soft skills is knowing how much radical candor, and that's, I'm the same as that, to give radical candor, not just to accolades, but to really be open and say, hey, this is what's going on. So that soft skill, I think, is important to become really a true leader in the communication aspect of it.
Right on. Zoom high five.
Well, it attracted me. When I did come onto your team, something, keywords, I always like your key buzzwords, right? Like get shit done, right? Like, yes, we don't do the status quo. We don't do the status quo. We do the status go. And I'm like, yes. And then I realized jumping into it, I was too fast, too much. Had to go back. It's like, yeah, I go status go, sit your ass down and learn something. So what I learned. And a lot of what I've learned, I'm carrying over into my current job position, which is great, learning all these things and actually seeing a lot of what you say the leaders do by mistakes. I'm seeing that now. So you're allowing me to navigate that stuff in an environment where I'm at right now, which is a flat organization, right? And it's a well-funded startup in a sense. That's great.
Really well funded.
Very, very well funded. And I'm like, cool. And then, I'll pepper in some of the stuff. And then all of a sudden I'll be getting asked, hey, you know what? Do you know, I'm adding value based on what you've had, right? And people are starting to open up to that, and that's great. I think what I appreciate the most, I'm always in the psychology standpoint of things, is the why, defining the why, right? With Simon Sinek, just define the why. If you do that in the very beginning of the foundation, you get passionate, you get that oxytocin hit, you get to open your brain for learning. So when I get all these spreadsheets that get tossed to me that, I know Dan was on a call earlier. I'm just like, oh God, spreadsheets. Like I'm like everybody else. Oh, not everybody else, maybe not a project manager, but I got a creative side. I'm like, oh shit. Now I'm starting to open up and digest and be like, oh, there's the oh shit moments. Now it's time to get status go. So it's allowed me to grow and make myself be humble, I guess, in a way, right? Humility to be like, oh shit, because I want to get this done. I do want to be that. I want to earn my get that shit done in real time, right? Other than just haphazard and chaotic. And scene.
Zoom high five and you go,
Oh,
Yeah, I think I'm surprised no one said this, or someone did, sorry. But communicating to lead, I think it's the biggest thing that I've taken away from this. And my boss took this course before me, and we say it all the time. And just, you've given us some great tools. So yeah, just communicating to lead.
right on. Zoom high five.
My biggest takeaway from this is the conversation we had about how you disagree with someone that's in a higher position with you and how to navigate that conversation. I think that ties in a lot with the persuasion reading that we had and just like having different approaches to how to handle the conversation. I think this course had a lot of good knowledge surrounding on how to approach certain difficult conversations. And I think that that's really important for project management because sometimes you have to kind of tiptoe around certain things and approach the conversation a certain way. So I think that was my biggest takeaway, and probably the reading on emotional intelligence as well, just because it opened up so many different breakdowns of emotional intelligence, which is then tied in with all the communication involved.
Zoom high five.
I think before this class, I probably would have minded my own business and just focused on the project. But I was able to think of the class and say, you know what, I'm here to lead, and leading is about people, not necessarily just about this project. So took it as a step to just go back to being more of a leader in general for people, and no matter what need they're in.
Thank you so much, man. Zoom high five.
Awesome.
all right, boom.
I took a lot away from this class. One of them, though, I think is a theme throughout for what was just in that better understanding from each of the chapters, how much of it was comprehensive and built every day. I loved the accountability and learning what that really meant. And it just really opens up eyes where in the case of like the Matrix, where you never go back, right? You never go back from what you didn't know before. Like now that I understand so much more about emotional intelligence and hormones and like unconscious bias and how to take feedback, and it makes me want to be able to put forward as much of this as possible into conducting all of my work that I do, but also in being able to have that be as an example to communicate to lead. It's also about leading to live and being able to kind of live your best life, live your best career, and be able to have that be a resonant forward for that multiplier effect of beyond everyone that you meet, and is able to kind of tell like all of this is a takeaway that is really from this class and beyond. So I look forward to kind of serving that in that way, and also that it's not just a course in the workplace, but also in relationships as well. Like now, of course, like it's so you can kind of apply the lessons from feedback in like a future relationship with like not just, you know, your partner, but like anybody, and really like having that active listening, and just so much of each of these chapters really applies, it not just for work. So I'm glad to be able to take all the way from this class. So thank you very much. And it was such an honor to be in this group. Thank you.
Right on, Janelle. Zoom high five.
Ah!
I want to say thank you to everybody, because I'm really thankful for having the opportunity to spend these 14 weeks with all of you, learn and listening all the discussions about different topics. I already want to tell you that in my case, I want to practice the active listening, and I'm doing it now. And as well, the emotional intelligence is one of the topics that I love the most. I've been following Daniel Goleman for years, since his first book, and I think it's so interesting the way that he applied all this knowledge to the organization, and how we can benefit our team with this knowledge. But also I fall in love with the 120 BC standards. These are the best I ever seen in long time, and they are going to be my Bible from now on my projects. Thank you so much, you guys.
Right on. Zoom high five.
It's something I said in a previous class. It kind of ties in with what some of you mentioned in terms of providing feedback. The other piece of emotional intelligence, like willing to influence, lead, and you know what I said in another class that I still would really like to practice is learning how to grow through how I handle bad news, being the bearer of it or seeking it out, right? Like if a project has a little bit of slack and things are starting to turn colors, not being afraid to pick up that phone and say like, cool, that's just information. Where do we go from here? Let's figure it out. So yes, I would like to practice having more of an oversight, and instead of like being so worried to hit the send button to the executive when I have to FYI, or like, by the way, everything's on fire, just very calmly being like, it's cool. Like, you know, doing this gives us choice. And I think that is the most important thing.
Zoom high five.
Boom.
I want to work on my listening. So it's helped in here, because I got to listen to what each and every one of you guys got to say, and my mind wasn't racing off like, cool, I got it out of the way. All right, I'm done. So it was a change for me to listen to. Sorry if you guys can hear the siren. It was a change for me to listen to all of you guys. So active listening. It's helped at work. It's helped with my marriage. Like Wynn and I have actually leveled up our communication game. Like it's ridiculous. It is absolutely incredible, because we both know how to talk to each other, and we both know these steps to go. She's been through this class, I don't know how many times, Jay. I mean, she's been through this, you know, a bunch. And here I am, you know, this is my first time going through it. So listening, but coupled with that is this, starting with the why. So like Nico said, this has made such a huge difference. The company I work for, some of our product is for outbound call centers, and some of our clients are in the mortgage space, and mortgage is not doing so well right now. So our churn rate has shot up. And so churn is bad. For those of you that are in the software world, everybody knows that churn is not good. So starting an outbound outreach campaign to our customers to get proactive instead of reactive, start to talk to them about their 2023 or their upcoming growth plans for Q4 and whatnot. But my team, they would not understand why we're having to outreach to them. That's just another task like we talked about today. But walking them through why we're making the phone calls, listening to their concerns about their daily workload, looking for people who have more yellows and reds and shuffling them off with people who have greens. Like everything that happened that we talked about today has all happened to me in the last couple of weeks. So it's been really cool to have these tools fresh. It's been really cool to be able to talk to some of you outside of here and get some answers. But most importantly, it's been cool to just sit back and learn all of this and absorb as much as we can. So I rambled on the most. There goes my whole thing about listening, but thank you all for your time, your contributions. And Jay, thank you for what you're doing. I appreciate it.
Right on. Zoom high five.